So when you're filming, make sure that you have as much footage as possible because, well, there's no limit to how much footage you need, especially if you've been given a set amount of minutes for your film. So just make sure that you've got as many shots as possible because you never know, you may end up needing it.
So when you're recording, make sure you film enough footage because 5 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but when you start editing your footage and cutting it down, it can really drag out. And you'd rather have too much footage than not enough, because if you've got too much, it just gives you more choice of what shots to put in.
In my FMP, I didn't manage my time very well, and then by the end, I didn't have enough time to edit everything together and add effects in or add in extra scenes, and I had to cut my interview down because it was 12 minutes long and it was going to be a minute long. So don't drag your interview out either.
One thing that I would change about my FMP is not make the interviews as long, because I ended up with unwanted footage and it just dragged on for too long and took up half my FMP.
So I didn't realise how much planning actually went into your FMP, and my advice is to have a physical copy of your plan, because flicking between pages and stuff, it just gets on your nerves. You can also take it wherever you want, and actually writing things down gets into your brain a lot better than just typing it. Also, try and get as much primary footage as possible, because you can find when you come editing that you clip out bits and stuff and you end up with not a lot of footage, so it's better to have too much than not enough.
So my advice is, if you're working on audio, use lav mics instead of boom mics. For my interviews when I was on location, I was using boom mics and the surround sound was drowning out the actual interview that was going on, so it was quite hard in post-production to take that out. So use lav mics where you can clip them on and you get a clear sound out of their voices. And another thing, when you're filming, I filmed in the studio for an interview with Rise North East, and that was probably the main interview, and it was probably the worst out of all of them because of the lighting being really dim, so you couldn't see what was going on. And it was just a pain in post-production again because you couldn't lift anything, you couldn't get the contrast up, it was just awful. So make sure you got your lighting, make sure you got your audio sorted before you actually record and start interviewing. But yeah, that's my advice.
The one thing that I wish that I could improve on with my FMP, if I had to do it again the first year, is to not focus on the practical so much, and to really improve on my written work, because that is probably one of the main things that you need to get done before you can have fun and film.